to our curious and artistic students of Art in the Park 2020. This is our last week together, and I have been so grateful to share in this project with you this summer. Congratulations for making it to the last week. I hope that you had a chance to go yesterday and pick up your kits, and I'm sorry that I'm just now getting to join you with our video. You should have gotten your booklets and your trading cards and a big piece of paper and a flower. And this week what we are talking about is time. So it's kind of a different sort of topic than some of the other weeks that we've had, but what I was hoping for you to be able to explore are different ways to represent time in your artwork, either visually or as an idea. And so I would invite you to explore some ways that you think about knowing that time has passed when you look at something. So here's a tree, for example. Can you tell what month of the year I'm making this video just based on looking at this tree? It's obviously summer because the leaves are nice and green, right? If it were blossoming, maybe it would be spring, and if it had no leaves, potentially it'd be winter, right? And you know that it's probably the middle of the day, because look at the angle of the shadow under my legs or next to this. If it were the end of the day, the shadow would be long. So I'd invite you to think about other ways that in your life you can think about time passing, like an ice cube melting, or a car that's really old looking, or some fashion, like a really old dress, and say, oh, this photograph is old, or paper and how it yellows, right? Or something looks really futuristic if the technology of a phone is really new, is really current, right? So there are lots and lots of different ways that you can show time in your work, but I would invite you to kind of think about that when you're doing things like making a comic or a drawing, and could you play with that idea by having multiple panels in your drawing, or just in general different ways to think about it. The artist that's in the front of your book this week, I'm sorry that I don't have it with me, shows a strange sort of stage and then a blue square at the top. And that's done by an artist named James Turrell, and he creates these spaces where people are invited to come into a room and very intentionally look up at the sky. And if you think about looking up at the sky and just taking some quiet time, you can watch the passages of time and what changes with the clouds and the sun as well. And so this idea of slowing down, of changing our own relationship to time. When I thought about teaching you about this topic way back in May, I had no idea that this week I would be in Ohio, where I am right now making this video for you, and that the flower that I was hoping to give you, I wouldn't be able to use the same flower that you're using in your drawing. This week I'm using this flower. Yesterday I had a funeral for my grandma. I don't know if you've ever had someone in your life pass away, but it was a poignant or special reminder of the passage of time and how the people that we love, they age and they get older and everybody dies, and that's okay. And so I want to show you a special drawing technique that you can use this week as we explore this topic of time. And I'm going to use this thing that was a flower from yesterday at the funeral that I went to. This kind of flower is called a carnation. It's white, and in the United States it was much more popular about 100 years ago or 80 years ago. And when my grandma got married, she had one of these in her wedding bouquet. So it was really special to me that I got to wear this flower yesterday. So, like all plant matter, this flower will wilt, right? And I thought it would be an interesting progression for you to explore drawing the same flower today, and then again tomorrow, and then again the next day, and then maybe the day after that. So what I would invite you to do with the paper that you have at your house, it's hopefully bigger than this, I believe, thanks, is to take it and fold it hot dog style, and again hamburger style, so that you have 4 quadrants on your paper. See that when you open it up? Now you have 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. And what you can do is put your paper down and consider doing the drawing for today right here, the drawing for tomorrow right here, the drawing for the next day right here, and the 4th day there, right? And then by the end, you'll have this very interesting progression of what happens to your flower over that amount of time. And the technique that I want to show you is called contour drawing. The contour drawings are kind of fun because they look sort of weird, but they're really fun to do if you can let your body relax and just really be present right in this moment that we're in with what you're drawing. And the key to making a good contour drawing, there's basically one really important rule. What you have to do is look at the thing you're drawing, not at your paper, okay? So what that's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is that you put down your pencil or your pen or whatever you're using, and you try very hard to just like have the pencil move around on the paper as if you're drawing the thing without picking it up and putting it back down again. You just leave your pencil on the paper, draw it, and then when you decide you're done, pick it up. Sometimes when people go to art school to learn how to get really, really good at drawing, they do this as an exercise because it's kind of like working out for your eyes and your brain. If you're just trying to like get really, really good at observing how something actually looks, this is a really, really great way to train your eye to draw the thing that you're seeing. So if the very first time that you make one of these, it looks weird, that's completely normal. That's totally okay. That's what you want. It's fine. And it's kind of interesting to just see how they come out. Because at first, you know, when you think in your mind, what does a flower look like? If I just draw this flower and you're like, oh, okay, draw a carnation. You might draw it, but it doesn't look super realistic maybe, right? But what starts to happen when you really look at it and really see is you start to have this quality that isn't what you'd expect in your mind of what the flower should look like. But once you see it, you're like, oh, that's cool. It kind of actually does look more like it in some ways. So this idea of contour drawing is kind of like lifting weights if you're trying to make your arms strong. If you do this style of contour drawing often, like every day, or you can draw anything, an apple on your table at home, or your brother, or whatever you want. You can draw anything this way. If you just really, really look and see, and then don't look at your paper, but try to draw it. If you do that technique, maybe even 5 minutes a day, it will really start to make you a better drawer, and it makes you smarter. It actually makes you smarter. So, who doesn't want to be smarter, right? It's fun too. Okay, so, but the key is to not judge your drawing, not pick up your pencil, and to just look at this the whole time and not at your paper, okay? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hold my boutonniere, which is the name for this fancy thing when you put a flower on your chest. I'm gonna hold my boutonniere, carnation boutonniere, and I'm gonna look straight at my flower and try really hard to not cheat and look at my paper, okay? And if you want, you can set a timer. You could say, I only have 2 minutes to do my drawing. And when you're done, beep, 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 it's over. And that's okay, you pick up your pencil, okay? I'm just gonna do it so it sort of feels satisfying to me, and then I'm gonna stop, okay? And my cameraman here is gonna keep me honest and not let me look at my paper, okay? So here we go. You're gonna see that it looks kind of weird, but that's okay. And I'm looking, and I think I'm gonna start, I'm gonna start down here. And then I'm gonna kind of trace with my eye along these little ruffles, and then maybe I'll come up here like this. I wish that you could see in the video with like a laser beam exactly where I'm looking, but you won't be able to. But my cameraman's gonna be able to show you what's on my paper and on my flower, and you'll be able to see both, even though I can't, okay? So here we go. I'm gonna start right here, and then I'm not gonna look again. Ready, go. look a little bit. Don't look. See, I'm trying to get those little flowers on the side. And you come up. You wiggle it on the edge.
Up.
Ah, it's so hard. The brain wants to look. And the less you look, the better that you get, though. There's also a style once you do the blind contour. The absolutely blind contour is what we're aiming for right now. But once you do this a bunch of times, you can start to let yourself cheat a little bit and not call it cheating anymore. And that's called a semi-blind contour. So you just like look only a little tiny bit. Okay. So I'm trying to do the little edges of the carnation's petals. And then, you know, maybe I switch to a different petal and I keep going up. Cameraman decide if he thinks I should stop.
Alright.
It's really hard to not look.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the fly in your hand.
I'll say. Ah. I bet my picture doesn't look very much like a flower, does it? Maybe a little bit. Guys, I'll tell you that this is very special for me because it was my grandma that was the one that helped me know that maybe I could be an artist someday. She went to art school, and a long time ago, before they had photographs in advertisements, like if you wanted to buy a sweater and the sweater was on sale, they used to actually have to just have a person wear the sweater and draw a picture of the sweater. Isn't that crazy? Like before photos. And that was her job. Before she had a family, she went to art school and learned to draw so well that she was able to faithfully draw pictures of that sweater to put in the newspaper to tell them it was on sale. So she'd be really proud of you today and would be really excited about doing this lesson with us if she were here. So thank you for sharing this moment with me. All right, I'm going to call him Matthew. My cameraman's named Matthew too, you guys.
Caden. Mm-hmm.
His brother's name's Matthew. Okay, so here's my flower. Does it look like a flower? Kind of not. And what has happened over the course of our video? Look at this. It started out sunny and now it's raining. That's passage of time too, right? So if you drew a picture and you had a sunny picture and then a cloudy picture and then a rainy one and then a sun again, that would be another way of showing progression of time. So I'm going to put today's date on here, the 28th of August. And then tomorrow, your paper's bigger, so you shouldn't have so much trouble. But tomorrow I'll do another drawing, and the next day another one. And maybe you'll start to see the difference because this flower is going to wilt and it's going to get kind of smaller. And so the way that my drawing looks might change a little bit over time. And if you know, yours is going to look different because you have a different kind of flower. And my guess is that the petals will be more pronounced in their difference than this carnation. Thank you so much for joining me this summer for Art in the Park. We will be in touch. Just keep checking out all of the social media for Tieton Arts and Humanities and our email list, and hope to get to meet you soon once we're all together again after COVID-19 ends. Thank you. Cheers.